Welcome to the Washington Defender, not daily devotions. This is our grassroots, and I am so glad that you are here this evening. We're going to get started in just a few moments. There's a lot of new bills that have dropped here, and as you know, we've been following these very, very closely. And so, if you are new to us, I'm going to show you a couple of our tools that we have. I'm going to also talk about two bills that you need to make sure that you register your position on. One bill is we're going to go through these more in a little bit later, but one bill is about homelessness, and it is going to impact you and your family as you go to parks, as you go out in society and culture, as you walk downtown in different areas. And so we're going to talk about that bill, and then after that, we're going to talk about the Initiative Killer, and so how that tries to remove your voice in Olympia. So want to encourage you to stay tuned as we go, but a whole bunch of new bills have been loaded our to our action alerts. We do these every day, and I wanted to go over just a few of those tonight and just make sure that you're aware of how to check this out. So the first thing I want to say is the tools I'm going to cover is download the Washington Defender app. So download that, and you can check that out. That's in the Apple App Store or Google Play, and that's this little logo right here. Or if you want to do this through a web browser, you can go www.fpiwaction.org, and you can check out what I'm going to be talking to you about right over here under fpiwaction.org. And so just be a part of that as well. So we're going to show you how to register your position. Now, there are some resources on both of our websites. One of these resources that we have is registering your position. And this little booklet you can find in our resource catalog here. And let me actually share my screen. I've done this before where I've done the whole thing without sharing the screen. And then people tell me later, you didn't share. So you can get this little book right here, right over here in resources and booklets and videos. And there it is. If you like to have some paper in front of you as you register your position, there's the booklet right there. And you can go and get information or download this and print it, whatever will make you feel better so that you can do this effectively, what I'm going to teach you today. So there are resources on how to register your position, how to look up a bill, how to testify in writing. And of course, we print them out really nice, but you don't have to, you can just print them out on 8.5 by 11, testify remotely, that kind of thing. So that is where those are located, is under fpiwaction.org, under resources, booklets, and videos. So, man, I just got over the pass, and it was a beautiful drive over the pass today, and just gorgeous as I came over, and the sun was setting over here. And I want us as a state to remember that we live in the greatest state in the United States. It's one of the most beautiful states, and that our hope is not built on anyone else but Jesus Christ and his righteousness. So there are some action alerts that we just released. We're trying to get a few days ahead. There are just so many coming. So if you go to fpiwaction.org and you click on action alerts, there they are right there. And a lot of these are due tomorrow at 7 a.m. If you're in the Washington Defender app, you have this icon. You're going to click right there, and there they are. Now, if you set it up, you'll get a text message from us to let you know when new action alerts are coming out. So it'll look like this, Washington Defender, and it reminds you to come out through text messages, or we can do a push notification. So turn on those push notifications, turn on text messaging. We want to communicate with you so that your voice can be heard in Olympia. Again, we are looking at some action alerts that are coming out. Now, some of these are in the morning. We'll cover those in just a few moments, but these are hot off the press about the initiative process, and this is coming at noon tomorrow. It's SB 5973. It's called the Initiative Killer, and a couple things to note about this. There's a problem. Number one that they were wanting to do is 1,000 signatures as a gatekeeping requirement before you can even get a bill title or initiative title. But I want to remind you, and this is actually in our strategic document right here, I want to remind you of a couple of things before we look at that. And the first thing I want to remind you is that our Constitution, and this is right in this document, the strategic document, Our Constitution says all political power is inherent in the people, and the government derives their just powers from the consent of the governed and are established to protect and maintain individual rights. And so, all inherent power. And we reserve for ourselves two powers. People reserve to themselves the power to propose bills, laws, and enact or reject the same as at the polls. The first power that we reserve to ourselves is the initiative process. This is Article 2, Section 1, letter A of our Washington State Constitution. So, the initiative, the first power reserved by the people is the initiative process. The second power is the referendum process. The second power reserved by the people is a referendum, and it may be ordered on any act, bill, law, or any other part thereof passed by the legislature, except such laws as much require the immediate preservation of public peace. So, this initiative killer, to me, to a certain degree, works against some of the very things that we have as a guarantee in our Constitution. And so I just want to encourage you. I'm going to lighten my camera there just a little bit, see if that's better. I just want to encourage you that you look at SB Senate Bill 5973 and that you register on it. Let me give you some highlights of this bill. It shifts power to wealthy campaigns. I do not believe the founders of our Constitution intended for it to cost $2-3 million to get an initiative across the finish line in the state of Washington. It requires 1,000 signature as a gatekeeping requirement. Other states like Oregon and Ohio have similar requirements, but they apply at different stages. This front loads costs with signature gathering is the hardest. And so you want to understand that. Number 3 is it opens the door to litigation and harassment, creates new citizens action lawsuits allowing anyone to sue initiative sponsors or signature gathering firms over alleged compensation violations. So we have a lot of problems. It chills grassroots engagement on controversial issues. So problem number 4. Number 5, undermines initiative as a democratic safety valve. So one of the reasons our constitutional republic that we live in, that we reserve the power of the initiative and referendum process is so that the grassroots can have a voice in the political system. And so we need you to take action on this bill. If you have a pen and paper, write it down. It's Senate Bill 5973. And it is about, we call it the Initiative Killer bill. And we need thousands upon thousands of people to do it. It is a slow process for them to begin to reduce the voice of we the people. Hear me out. It becomes a very slow process of them reducing it, making it more and more difficult for us to do it. A couple other things is the new key. We oppose this because it's new gatekeeping requirements that burden grassroots campaigns. It front loads barriers that favor the politically connected over the ordinary voter, and one party legislator using procedural rules to block citizen driven accountability. So FPIW really is opposed to this bill. So let's go register our position on this. And FPIW Action is asking you to take action. So you can do this one of two different ways. 5973. You can scroll down here until you find that number 5973, which is quite a ways down here because it's going to be about noon tomorrow when they're going to talk about this. All right, so there's 5892, 5902. Here we go, 5973. We're saying thumbs down on it. Now over here, what you're going to see is you're going to say, oh, it's not there, but you have to hit view all to view all the bills that are out. There are hundreds upon hundreds of bills, and so we try to keep up with it for you, give you a biblical worldview on each bill, at least a conservative worldview, and move us through it. So you can scroll down here and you go 5973. So let's find this out. This is around noon tomorrow. So we want to register our position. Now, when we register our position on these bills, our elected officials in Olympia get a tally, and the tally is one of 3 categories. Pro, I'm for this bill. Con, I'm against this bill. Or other. I'm not really sure what other is, but it gives you other. So here's that bill, 5973, and we placed it under what category? Community concerns. So this is due by 12:30 at lunchtime tomorrow. We need everyone to go register the position so that we do not lose our freedom for the process of initiative and cause undue burden to get initiatives across the finish line. Now, I fully recognize that once we've identified a lot of signers and we get our system going really well, I fully understand that 1,000 signatures should not be difficult. But the reality is, we know how the progressive left works. They don't just add one little rule in and then leave it at that, and they play the game nicely for the rest of their lives. They add one rule, they add another rule, they add another rule. They just keep compounding the rules. And so we need you to take a stand and say, no, enough is enough. We are not going to give up our right. And I just read to you in our strategic document, but you can go search this out, that in the Washington State Constitution, that we reserve this right. This is a right that we have as people in the state of Washington. So let's register our position on this. You can do this by clicking register. And so the first thing is make sure you're on the right bill here, 5973. We are. I'm going to say con to this because I do not believe that this extra burden should be placed upon us. It's going to autofill my name. It's going to autofill my number. I'm not a robot. And I just told them, no, don't do this. We want as many of you as possible to get in there. We need 10, 12, 13, 15, 100,000 people registering their position on these bills. Now, if you're on the website, you can do the same thing here. I won't do it again. I won't do it twice. But then you click con, and then you can click your autofill. It'll fill it in. I'm not a robot, and submit registry. So that is how you register your position. Now, you may read over the bill and you come to a different conclusion, but FPIW and our research says this takes to whatever degree, the voice away from the grassroots, and we are not going to want to stand for that. So we want to encourage you to vote con on that particular bill. Now, there's a lot of them here. So, right here we have one on military and veterans, HB 2135. Strengthens our commitment to disabled veterans by extending and expanding the existing sales and use tax remittance program for adopted housing projects. And so we say thumbs up on that one. We register pro on that. If you read through it, if you come to a different conclusion, so be it. But that one's by 7 a.m. See the deadlines here? 7 a.m. Tuesday morning. And so you need to register your position on those bills. Here's a hearing on SB 5852 has been scheduled. It's at 7 a.m. tomorrow. You got to get on this tonight, guys. We can't step back. It's yet another bill against ICE that seeks to protect illegal immigrants, despite the fact that the even low end estimates of illegals on Washington still remain at several 100,000. The bill creates a new Immigrant Worker Protection Act. And so we're saying citizenship and immigration. We believe that citizenship and immigration should be legal, not illegal. You say, well, how do you get that from a biblical worldview? Well, the Bible really clear. We should follow as best as we can the laws of land, as long as it does not contradict the word of God. And the word of God says that all immigration should be legal. You say, wait. Does the word really say that? It does. When you look at Acts chapter, I believe it's 17. Let me get my Bible here. You're going to see that God appoints each human being to a certain nation, to a certain area. And that in Acts 17, the Mars Hill, is that where it's at? Yeah, 17. It says right here, the God who made the world and all the things in it, since he is Lord of heaven and earth, does not dwell in temples made with hands, nor is he served by humans as though he need anything, since he himself gives to all people life and breath and all things. And he made from one man every nation of mankind to live on the face of the earth, having determined their appointed times and the boundaries of their inhabitations, that they should seek God, if perhaps they might grope for him and find him, though he is not far away from each one of us. For in him we live and move and have our being. So God appoints us to a nation. And that doesn't mean that we can't legally migrate. We see in the Old Testament many times when the Israelites needed to migrate, like for instance, when Joseph's family was up in Israel and they were called down into Egypt, they legally migrated to Egypt. They were considered sojourners who went to Pharaoh and asked permission to enter in, and Pharaoh agreed to do that. So we can see that this is one of those bills that we want legal enforcement, our laws, our federal laws, to be enforced and to be honored. So you're going to want to register Con on that one. So here we are on the app, Citizenship and Immigration. So again, how you do that? You go here. I like to use my phone. It's a little bit easier. I have it set up than the website, but that's okay. You can use whichever one serves you best. Autofill right there. Enter your phone number, and then you are going to submit that registration. That does become public information, and so just be aware of that. Now, our like button and or our done button are getting fixed right now by our app developer, so they may not be working quite right for you. It may give you a red sign across the top that says that you are not in this community, but that is being fixed. I just checked my email, and they're checking into that once again. Another bill on citizenship and immigration that we're saying con to is SB 5906. It hard codes the sanctuary style immigration enforcement limits by using data and personal safety language to make it harder for lawful immigration enforcement to operate in public spaces. Again, the sanctuary. Why do they use that language? I don't even get it. I mean, in the sense of we are under we're the United States of America, and that federal precedence takes over, and we can't say, well, we're going to be a sanctuary for people to break the federal laws. It's crazy. So want to encourage you to say con to that bill as well. Here we have one that's a thumbs up. And the Senate Bill 5907 expands access to Washington Early Childhood Education Assistance Program. You can read through that. Again, FPIW has 4 close-handed items. 1 is life, 2 is parental rights, 3 is religious liberty, and 4 is marriage, biblical marriage. And so we know the answers to those easily. The others of these, there's could be variances thereof. So you can read through it. This is our recommendation as of this point. So again, we're asking you to take action very clearly on Senate Bill 5973. That is the Initiative Killer bill. And we need you to get that information out to your friends and family, because if we lose that initiative process, even though it's a small step this time, if that slippery slope starts taking off, then we really have no way of holding the majority party accountable. We really don't. We lose that ability to do that. I think sometimes we forget that the progressive left is in charge of our state. And so that is why we oftentimes at FPIW are talking about how do we see transformation? And really, we need a transformation of the heart. The heart needs to be transformed so that the policies are transformed, because out of the heart flows policies. And so we need a heart that says, I want to love my neighbor, do what's good for the common good, and really stand for lawfulness in our state. So there's a lot of them here that you need to register your position on tonight. Here we have a housing and property bill. What's this one? This one is SB 60, or this is a K-12 education bill. Senate Bill 6051 declares legislative intent to provide school increased flexibility by authorizing school districts to grant waivers or partial waivers of state laws and rules for schools and districts. So you can read through this and study that as you go. Let me catch up over here as we go. 59. So we're at 7 a.m. We're down here at 9:30. So there's a bunch of 7 a.m. stuff that you've got to register your pro or con on. Again, if you disagree with one of our recommendations, it's not a problem. Register the opposite. That's your choice. We are not part of the uniparty. We believe in freedom of thought and freedom of choice. So you feel free to do whatever the Lord directs you or what your conscience directs you. So I'm still trying to catch up over here. 2446, 2161. I saw that one up here. So we can go through each of these bills and register our position on the bills. Now, again, some of you like paper to follow. And so we show you how to operate both the app and the website in this booklet on registering your position. So here's the app, here's the website, and it shows you what you need to do, where you need to click, where to see things so that you can know what you're looking at, where to get more information on each of these bills. Step 3, how to register your position. And so we have this available on our website so that you can have a printout on 8.5 by 11 and do, and really follow along on how to register your position. Our goal at FPIW is to have 200,000 people registering their position on each bill. We want to send a clear, loud message. You say, where do we get that goal? Right here. Here we have it. Our goal is to have 200,000 people registering their position, because we need to send clear messages that enough is enough in Washington State, that we are going to come against policy that does not benefit all of us as a people. So get in there and register your position on these different bills that we have. Let me show you a couple different things. If you are a huddle leader in the app and you want to place one of these in your huddles. So let's say like we're still looking at Senate Bill 5973 and we want to go place that in our huddle. So we're going to go find that bill, and one of the easiest ways to do it is you can go up here to search. I don't know if you saw where I clicked, but you can hit search right here and you can go into Senate Bill. Oh, I'm not showing again. I got to do this. So you can go into Senate Bill. Get it to work there. Senate Bill 5973. Okay. And there it is. There's the bill. You can click on it and then hit share. And so I have, as you know, if you've been following us, we have a test huddle that we use just for demonstration purposes, Brian Test. And so you can put that right in there. And I could say Initiative Killer, let's take action, and save that. And that's going to put the bill right into my huddle, because huddles, remember, are places where grassroots can lead, right? So where we're trying to lead our community, our friends, our family members, you could have a family huddle, and that you are putting things in there for your family to do. So Initiative Killer Bill, here it is. And then they would just click on it, and they can register their position right here. Click here to register pro or con. Okay. So there you go. You have the action right there for you to take. Another place, like if you want the button to be there when you do it, you are going to share that. You're going to share that initiative 5973. You can search it like I just did, or you can just scroll down here, and we know it's at 12:30 tomorrow. And you're going to share that initiative into your huddle. We need more huddle leaders and leadership across the state. We need to get down to the zip code level. We need to get county by county, zip code by zip code, leader by leader, church by church. So you can share this. Here it is, the initiative right here, and you hit share, and we'll put it into the test. We need leadership all across our state. There's so many opportunities for you to be involved and to take a stand for righteousness in the public square. Initiative. Okay. So I can share that. Now watch. So I shared it from this screen, and see the share button, and this is what it looks like. So when I go over to my huddles, here's my huddles. These are the ones I'm a part of. All right. Now that button is right there. Easy for people to use. Got it? So I want to encourage you to use your huddle systems and to share things within your huddles, because it really does help you to mobilize the grassroots in your community. Build out your huddles. Go get your friends, get them to download the app. This is a grassroots movement where we begin to take the very things that are going on in our state, and we make people aware of what's happening. Any questions that you have, any things that you may have, or comments, put them in the comment section. I think they'll get over to me. I think I have everything turned on right, and it will work. So we want to register our position on these bills as we go. And I've done this one, so I better check that like button and the done button are getting fixed. It's not necessarily working for everyone at this point, but it will be fixed very shortly. The register in your position on the website. Again, if you're here and you want to do 2135 Pro, you click here. You've come into 2135. You click Pro, and bada boom, hit your autofill, and now you have it filled out. I'm not a robot. Okay, so these are all these bills we have loaded. Now, let me show you. Some of you like to do a lot more research, which is great. We want you to do the research, and we want you to be actively involved and prayerfully involved. So you can go to the bill library here, and you can search out. We have all these topics. So addiction and mental health, agriculture, citizen and immigration, crime and public safety. 24 bills right now that we are following in crime and public safety. Criminal justice, 16 bills. Community concerns, 15 bills. Economy, 1. Elections, 9 bills we're following about elections. Food safety, gun rights, 2 bills. Healthcare, 16. Higher education, 5. Life, 6. K-12, 14. Judicial. So you see all these. We're following right now in our bill library 213 bills so far, and we're only like a week and a couple days into legislative session. Can you believe that? What do we need all these laws for? That's all I want to know. Religious liberty. I wonder what that one's about. So you can follow that there. Religious liberty. There it is, and it talks about recognizing major religious holidays. Okay. So the other thing is, if you want to get more information directly from the horse's mouth, you can click on that. I don't know if you saw what I just did, but on the bottom of the bill library is ledge.wa.gov. And if you go over to here, you scroll down and you're going to find it. There's the bill library. You can go through there, or there's ledge.wa.gov. And that's going to take you right to the legislative, and you can put a bill number in there. So you can go 5973, and you can do your research yourself if you like. So 5973 currently is in the Senate, SB 5973, Senate Bill 59. It's in committee. It has not made it onto the floor, and it has not passed this chamber as of now. So you can send a comment here to your legislator. You can do that through our app as well. You can get the original bill and read it. So here's bill reports. You can read those. Here's committee materials. There's a lot that you can do when you come in through into ledge.wa.gov as well. So we've given you all those quick links. Also, if you want to contact your senator or House representative on this bill right here, you can do that. And you can send a message to your senator, if it's Derek Stanford or whoever it might be. We have it there for you to take action. Some of you enjoy the prayer part a little bit more, and you enjoy that kind of thing. And so if you go to learn and you scroll down here to grow spiritually, grow in God's word, I think it is, and this is our spiritual growth, you can see that the staff will be picking 1 bill per day to pray over. And this one was SB 5735. It's a gun rights bill, or maybe this one on House Bill 2182 on life. And so you can get a prayer on that. The issue, it tells you about the issue. You can read a scripture and a sample prayer, but we need you to be praying over these bills as well. And then with your prayers, also take action by letting the House and the Senate know how you feel about those bills. So I know some of you have just jumped on, so let me back up here. Okay. So first and foremost, let me get to the front pages. This is the Washington Defender app. If you have not downloaded it, please do, so you can get push notifications and text messages knowing when new bills are being dropped, and we can encourage you to take action. This is our future plan, is how we mobilize the grassroots. We will have push notification and texting for all huddle leaders in their huddle to mobilize their local people. And so we want to encourage you to be a part of that as well. Secondly, once you've downloaded the Washington Defender app, you can log in as a guest and check it out a little bit. But turn on notifications and create an account so that you can put your cell phone in there so we can do text messaging. We're not going to spam you. We're not going to do that. We're just going to tell you when your voice can be heard in Olympia. We're not going to constantly hound you about donating or something. We just simply want you to take action in Olympia. And then eventually we want you to take action in your school board, your city council, your county county commissioners meetings, all those different things of elected officials. Interact with your sheriff. And so download the Washington Defender app. If you're not much of a phone person, you can do this on fpiwaction.org. This is our 501c4, fpiwaction.org. And you'll see right after the video plays where the drone is flying in. Right after this, you scroll down. There's that drone. You scroll down into action alerts, and this will take you right into the action alerts. Now, some of you really enjoy having something printed out to follow, like registering your position, or how do you testify remotely, or how do you testify in writing. You like having those kind of resources in front of you so that you have a checklist to be able to do. So you can go to resources here, and you can go to booklets and videos. That was resources, booklets and videos, and right here are those: register your position, testify in person, testify remotely, written testimony. So if I click on this, register your position, here is that booklet. It's right there. And this will give you a little bit of an outline, but you can print this. Just hit print. Here's your print button, and it will print for you. Print this document. Okay. And it's going to walk you through step by step how to run the app, how to run the website. So we have this built for you to equip you to do it. It also gives you a sample bill and other resources as you go. So you can check out this, how to testify, and some other things there as well. So again, under FPIW action, oops, I lost my mouse here. Come back over here, mouse. There we go. It's under resources and booklets and videos. So you can check that out there. But when you come in here, we want you to register your position. So we're going to do pro on this one. Hopefully I didn't do this one already because I've been talking. I don't know which ones I've done. So there's pro. I'm going to do autofill. If you don't have autofill set up, it makes it so much easier. Get it set up. Find someone who's like 16 who can do that for you, or what have you. I can show you just real quick how you do that. Submit registration. And there, I've registered my position on this bill as pro. Okay, so the like button and the done button are getting fixed. We had a slight problem, and it's getting fixed. So for right now, you're just going to want to write down, I've done HB 2135. So you keep a list of what bills you've registered on. Try not to re-register on bills, but it really does help keep it clean if you just register once. So if you want more information, you can click on these words right up here. And again, you can get more information on there. If you're on an iPhone, the autofill is pulling from your contact card right here. This is where it's pulling from. So just make sure you have that contact card set up, my card set up correctly on an iPhone. On Samsung and other phones, I don't have them, so I don't know exactly how they do that, but just figure out how the autofill works. It makes it much, much easier to do. So we're registering our position on these bills. Now, what happens when you register your position is the tally, the pros and the cons and the others, which I never really figured out what other is, but the pros and the cons and others go to your elected officials, whether that's in the House or the Senate. And it says, such and such number are pro this legislation, or such and such number is con to this legislation or against this legislation. It is where your elected officials begin to say stuff like this. My constituents wanted me to vote this way on this bill. So if you want them to vote a different way and you want to encourage them. Now, I've had people say, well, but they don't have to listen to us. I get it. I get that they don't have to. It's not like they are bound to our vote, because we are in a constitutional republic, which is a representation form of government, not a pure democracy where we get to vote on every bill or every law. So I get it, but we at least get to tell them our opinions. So let's be happy for that as of right now. And so we can go in there and let them know what we're thinking. I can tell you that oftentimes when the numbers are high enough, they change their position on those bills. They either have them die in committee, or they never make it to the floor, or what have you. But it is relentless battle to keep these things at bay. So please, 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 please let your voice be heard in Olympia. It's our stewardship of the public square. So that is how you register your position. Now on the website, again, we'll go to this one here on immigration. If I want to register my position, I click here. This one was a con, so I would click con, and then I would click my autofill, and then it would fill it in. I've already done that one, so I'm not going to do it again. Some may ask, how do I testify on a bill? We give you those links right here. If you click here to testify in person, remotely, or in writing, it's going to make sure you have the right bill here. And I want to submit a written testimony, or I want to testify during the hearing. And then you want to click remote or in person, depending on what you want to do. You register your position, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And you fill out the form. So that is how you testify on a bill or in written form. Thoughts or questions that you might have as we go. Again, we need you to download the Washington Defender app. It is the backbone to saving our state. And I don't think I'm exaggerating when I say that. When you say, what do you mean? Well, obviously our hope is built on Jesus Christ and his righteousness and nothing else but him, right? Our stewardship, though, is built on our faithfulness, how faithful we are to steward the public square. And so we want to build a communication system that is the backbone for you to take action so that you know when to register your position, when to sign initiatives, when to have your voice be heard. And so by all of us coming together on one platform to do that, it really does help us move forward. We can have private huddles and public huddles. And in order to start a huddle, to huddle up, we say, you got to contact us and get through the gate. So we want to create those huddles for you. Okay, so another bill I told you I was going to cover too is House Bill 2489. So let's go find that bill real quick. That is also tomorrow. I believe it's around noon. So let me go over there. Take action. We'll view all, because there's so many of them. Can you believe there's already been 200 and some bills that we've commented on? All right. It's only been a week and something. This is a House bill. I think it's this. See, there's the top. So I think we're around noon. House bill, and this is 2489. 2489. There it is. It's a homeless bill. And let me tell you a little bit about this bill. It's important that you understand what this does. So on the homeless bill, I want to find it in the app as well. You could search it if you wanted, but I like this view the best. So it's at 12:30 on Tuesday. Okay. Hey, and good job, FPIW Action staff, for putting all this in, and FPIW giving us the biblical worldview. Great team out there doing this for us. I greatly appreciate it. All right, here we go. House Bill 2489. It is tomorrow at 12:30. It's going to go into committee. So one of the things, again, if you want more information on these bills, I'm going to show you that over here real quick. You can go to our bill library, and then you scroll down to the bottom and you hit ledge.wa.gov, and we can put in here 2489. So here's that bill on the ledge.wa.gov website. You can see it's in committee, and that here's the original document, so that you can look at that if that's something that interests you. I'll move this over here for a second. All right, so we have our paragraph on here. So here are some things you need to know about this. Problem one with this bill is it eliminates local decision-making authority. You're going to find that at FPIW, we believe that we are inherently sinful, and that centralized power into one high bureaucracy is not the way to go. We believe that power should be divided among the people, both locally and statewide and nationally. We believe that this aligns with a biblical worldview because of the story of the Tower of Babel. And so understand that divided power is really important. Creates a litigation trap. So HB 2489 strips away local control by imposing a statewide mandate that prevents cities, towns, and counties from enforcing quality of life or ordinances. Under this bill, communities lose the ability to protect public spaces, parks, streets, libraries, transit stations, unless they can demonstrate adequate alternative shelter space. The bill's vague and expansive definition of adequate shelter makes enforcement virtually impossible. And so, this is one of our homeless bills. We are all for taking care of the homeless at FPIW. Please know that. But we firmly believe that it is the church's responsibility to take care of the poor among us, the homeless among us. You say, well, why? The government has one role, and that is to punish evil and to punish law breaking, right? Those who break the law. The church has a different role, and that role is to be that carrot and to attract people to the gospel and to life change. I have this little booklet right here called Outflow of the Heart. And one of the things when we talk about the government role in here, let me see if I can find it. The government role in here. Where is it at? I'm going to find it right there. The government role in here is that they are the stick. Here, let me go full screen so you can see it. They are the stick, and the church, whoops, I'm over here. See, whenever I do this, I forget to go back to screen share. But they are the stick, and the church is the carrot. And you can see that throughout Romans chapter 13 and other places. The church's primary role is to attract and tell people that they can be set free from their addiction, their mental health issues, and such, and that God will bring peace into their situation, and they can be productive in society and or in culture. So when the government gets into that role of doing those things, we get out of whack. The government's primary role from Romans 13 is to punish evil, right? To take and enforce the laws and punish those who break the laws. So as we make these laws, these rules, one of the problems we have is someone who's breaking the law through either being homeless, and someone's going to say to me, it's not illegal to be homeless. I get it. Okay. I understand. I know the arguments, but when you are sleeping on public land and you are camping and you are basically in essence trespassing, then we have a problem. So this says that we can't have them laws be enforced unless there's enough shelters to do that. Families deserve safe, clean communities. Government has a responsibility to maintain public order and protect citizens, especially children and vulnerable populations. Compassion requires solutions, not surrender. And so evidence-based housing first programs with accountability. So we know that mental health and addiction treatment pathways, this should be done through the church. Local autonomy to enforce community standards. And so we believe that this should be at the local level, not the state level. So we said con to that particular bill, HB 2489. And I want you to find it. And here we go. We're going to register. We're going to click on there. We go in and we click con. Now, some of you may say, well, what if the church doesn't do their responsibility? It is. We have great Union Gospel Missions. We have great Salvation Army, organizations that will do what they're supposed to do. And so we have many arms of the church to reach out and to do those things. And so I just registered con if you saw that. So I'm not a robot and I hit con. Over here, you would do the same thing. You click here, you click con, and then you hit your autofill. I just did it, so I'm not going to do it again. I'm not a robot. Submit registration. So it's the same process on either the app or on the web version, fpiwaction.org. So we have great resources for us to do that. And our hope is that as the church and or other religious nonprofits take a stand for these things, then the people also hear the good news of Jesus Christ as they go. So they will be truly set free from their addiction and from those things around us. Any questions or comments that we have, place those over here. I'm just looking at this screen. Um, is anyone out there just using the app yet? Has anyone tried it and tried to register your position through it? It should really be helping you. I think we hit some new highs, by the way, on those using the app and moving forward. Any questions, comments, statements? Just looking over here at the screen where they show up. All right. Not seeing any. I'm about done. There are a ton of things. I need to go off and register my position. So we have stuff on technology, a couple things there, healthcare, a couple things there, marriage, a couple things there. And if you want to go check out our bill library, which has hundreds upon hundreds of these things, over 200 for just this legislative session, you can hit the bill library right here, bill library. And it'll take you into all these, and you can look by category or search by number. And this is the only place you're going to get a biblical worldview of these bills coming out. There's no other place doing that. You may get conservative worldviews on others, but here you're going to get a biblical worldview and that filter of what does God have to say about these things. So housing and property, you can see these numbers. We're up to 213 bills that we have in our bill library. And so our staff is doing a tremendous job on keeping up with all of this. So I hope that if you haven't yet registered your position on a bill, that you will let your voice be heard. Again, we have 4 closed-handed items that we know the answers to. They're very, very simple. Life starts at conception and ends at natural death, period. Marriage is between one man and one woman for life, period. Parents are the primary guardian of their children, okay? Not the government, period. And religious liberty and free speech is a right given to us by God. So those are our 4 close-handed. The rest may have degrees thereof. We believe in having those robust dialogues and really growing in what God has for us in those other areas. And so I think we have a total of, if you want to say, hey, what are your positions or what are your issues? They're right here. It's resources and it's issues. And you can see here they are, all 30 of them that we are tracking. We have addiction and mental health, agriculture, citizenship, and then here is a description of each one. So we don't hide anything. We tell you right up off the bat where we stand on these things and what our biblical worldview are of these things. So you can go check out our issues and positions booklet as we go, and do that on FPIW Action and or fpiw.org if you want more educational pieces. I don't know. I've been going on for about 45 minutes now to 50 minutes. I do appreciate many of you who have stayed on. I hope that you will register your position tonight on many of these bills. I'm going to take and go through each one and make sure that my voice is heard in Olympia, and I hope that you'll do that with me. Scripture, just to give you some thoughts on this that may just really encourage you to take a stand for prayer and for believing that God wants to do something great, is Isaiah chapter 10. And this is why we need to pray over our elected officials, is because oftentimes we forget that elected officials are placed by God. And you're like, well, no, we vote. Well, yeah, we vote, and our hearts collectively together bring us together, and we bring someone to the front. And yet God uses that vote. So it says this: woe to those who enact evil statutes and to those who constantly record unjust decisions so as to deprive the needy of justice and rob the poor of my people of their rights, so that the widows may be their spoil and that they may plunder the orphans. So we don't want our elected officials to have a woe, right? Woe, God says. We want them to make laws that honor and glorify the King of Kings and Lord of Lords, which if they do that, let's say like we have a law like on the initiative process that we're talking about, SB 5973, a law that would glorify God is allowing the people to have a voice through the initiative and referendum process, which we already agreed on in our Constitution. We don't need to put unnecessary burdens to make that happen. Homelessness. We need to take care of homelessness with a long-term program, which is accountability for addiction and help for mental health. And the bulk of that should be coming through the church to help with both of those areas. Because when we have the compassion coming for housing coming through the church, then they will have they'll have programs that will benefit them to be set free from either their addiction or to help handle their mental health. And so I just want to encourage you. The church is a solution to a lot of these, and the church being absent from the public square has caused the government to overstep its bounds and to be involved in things it's not meant to be involved in. The government's role is to punish evil for those who break the laws and to celebrate those who do good. That's what Romans 13 says. So, just want to encourage you, be a part, let your voice be heard in Olympia. And if you haven't been on one of our prayer tours yet, I should show you where that is really quick. Otherwise, Ken Ramey is going to come after me. Let me show you that real quick just before we jump off here. If you have not done the prayer tour, go to fpiw.org, and you can scroll down to right there, the big old prayer tour button. Click on it, and you can see all the dates right there that are still available for the prayer tour. We're there each and every day praying over our elected officials. We'll start at the Temple of Justice, go to the governor's office, lieutenant governor's office, treasurer's office. We walk through and we pray over each and every area in Olympia. And if you're like, well, I'm pretty shy, I don't know about that, we give you all the prayers and scriptures right here that we're going to pray and say as Pastor Ken takes you on the tour. So that is at fpiw.org. I want to encourage you to be a part of that as well. So may the Lord bless you and keep you. May his face shine upon you. May this be a day that you experience God's glory, that you go in God's peace. God bless you. Go out there and defend and advance biblical values in the public square.
You love our beautiful state, but does fighting for issues that most affect families ever feel like you're climbing alone? It can feel like an uphill climb in a hostile environment that champions causes detrimental to Washington families. Again and again, the summit feels out of reach, but you don't have to climb alone. With like-minded people fighting for Washington families by your side, the journey becomes not just possible, but powerful. The Defender app, brought to you by the Family Policy Institute of Washington, connects you with your team for the climb ahead. Connect with conservatives who care about issues affecting families in your specific county and across our state in order to make our voices be heard locally and in Olympia. Simply click Learn to stay informed about the latest news affecting families. With one click, press Huddle to team up with other conservative minds in your specific county who care about how these issues affect you in your unique community. Then simply press Activate to get involved and to make your voice heard on legislation that matters in Olympia. With the Washington Defender app, you won't face the fight alone. Together, we can make a difference for families in Washington. Download the Washington Defender app today, a simple way to let your voice be heard.